Let's talk about what I've read and reviewed in June and July. Welcome back to the video. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Serena Lewis, and I just like to read books, honestly. So I decided to make this video just about what I've been doing this summer, kind of catch up to recaps, and hopefully what I plan on reading for the rest of July. So according to my journal, I read a total of 5, maybe 6 books from June to up until this point. It's July 16th right now. I will try my best not to give any spoilers, but if so, I'll put some type of warning. So far, the first one I read in June was none other than Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. And for this one, honestly, the main reason why I got this book was because I kept hearing about TikTok and YouTube. A lot of people were reading this book, I think earlier this year, maybe last year. So I feel like I'm a little bit behind on the game, but honestly, that's okay. I really wanted to read it when I felt comfortable reading it and really felt like in the mindset of doing so. I feel like when people are reading these type of popular series, I feel like there's always a lot of pressure reading certain series around a certain time, just so that way you can get with that momentum of people talking about it. But I feel like it's okay if you don't, catch that wave or, are there with that momentum, if that makes sense. So I finally read Magnolia Parks, and the quickest way I can describe this book is basically we got a London socialite, Magnolia Parks, and she has this on and off relationship with this influencer, like up and coming model influencer type of dude. His name is BJ Valentine, and they have a lot of will they, won't they, will they, won't they. Now, first and foremost, a lot of people say there is a cheating trope with this, and if you know anything about me, I do not like the cheating trope. So that was probably the main reason why I didn't read it as soon as I did. But when I actually read this book, it wasn't, not that I'm justifying cheating, but it's not what you think it is, if that makes sense. So Magnolia and BJ aren't exactly in a relationship, and that's where most of this turmoil happens. We have this really vicious cycle of Magnolia dating other guys, BJ being jealous and sleeping with other girls, and it's really just to get back at each other. I think I'm gonna leave it there, because once you read the book, you understand why people say there's a cheating trope. Overall, it was a lot of drama. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I'm actually really impressed that, again, for people saying that there was a lot of cheating trope, that I was actually really in tune with this. By the time I finished this book, I think it took me maybe a week or so. By the time I finished this book, I was over here calling my boyfriend as if these were actual people. So-and-so did this and so did that. And honestly, I can see why people get sucked into this book. Jessa does a really good job of making the characters feel real. And I feel like with her community, especially on Instagram, I think it's called the Magnolia Parks Universe Closet. This person, I don't know who you are, but God bless you. She crafted all of the outfits that was described in this book. And that's one thing I did like about it too. She did a really good job with the imagery of what everyone's wearing and also how it fits the sort of theme of what's the situation going on with. Now, I will say, I do like the outfits, but in my mind, that I feel like my mind catered the outfits a lot better, and probably because it was I think this is slightly older than this time frame, if I remember correctly, but I feel like it was pretty good though. I believe there's 5 books in this series, if I remember correctly. I ordered the first 4, and of course I have to get the old cover. I'm team old covers for sure. The shoe cover, I think it's nice, but I don't think it was executed fully. I see a part of the vision. We're 60% there. It gave a nice nod to the old-timey mass print paperback covers, but this one, I just feel like it eats different. You got all the different meanings of this book. It looks too much at first, but as you start reading, I love it when the book starts coming to the front page and you start connecting those dots. And last thing, I'm really curious to see how these two get together. I feel like in a real world, I would be over them. I think this is becoming a TV show. I'm not too sure how the TV show is going to go. I feel like either the people who stuck with this book series, they're probably get really committed to it, or if you just like a lot of drama but don't like to read it and like to watch it, I can see people getting into the TV show. So I'm still up in the air with that. Overall, this really just shows what an, I think, anxious attachment person is like with another anxious attachment person. So lots of bad coping skills, a lot of drama, lots of, I don't want to say miscommunication, but there are 2 big miscommunication. Because yeah, now that I think about it, without spoilers, if someone didn't do what they did, or they simply spoke up, we probably would have had maybe 288 pages, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think that's actually where that's the actual page where the book would have ended, personally, for me. So yeah, all right. That's all. 4 out of 5 though. I think you should read it. After Magnolia Parks, I had to figure out what was happening next. So the next book I read naturally was Daisy Hates. Now, this is probably one of my favorite covers from the series. I love the daisies. I love the mirrorism. I think it's really cool. And even in the back, you got like a little bit of a frame and a window type of deal. So you don't really know too much of what's going on. We're not focusing on Magnolia anymore. And I understand that in a way. It's giving the interconnected series, so I knew that this was going to focus on someone else, but I also need confirmation of what's happening with Magnolia based off of the last, what happened last, basically. So it goes off with Daisy Hates, and Daisy Hates is like the younger sister of this London mafia guy, or not guy, but Julian. And they basically steal art together, which is pretty cool to me. I think Jessa did a really good job balancing out mafia with whatever Daisy has going on, like mentally, academically, and then also catering to Christian, who is the love interest in this. And Christian is also in Magnolia Parks as well. So things get really tangled up quickly. I believe they have a friends with benefits relationship, if I remember correctly. Things get pretty real, and it really brings a question of how Daisy and Christian can balance their relationship outside of their life, if that makes sense. Overall, I think Daisy and Christian were a cute couple. The way that I saw this book and it said Daisy Hates, I thought Daisy was going to be maybe Magnolia's best friend, or who knows, even like her sister, even though that didn't make any sense. But I am interested with how they brought her in with Magnolia. And with Daisy, I feel like I don't have any problem with her character. I think at first it was giving she's not like other girls type of vibe, but it's for a reason though. So I can kind of ignore that. I do think Julian's point of view was interesting. I was not expecting 3 people's point of views, but it makes sense later at the end why there's 3 people's point of views. I will admit, Christian was a hopeless romantic. I love a particular scene he does. I think TikTok or Instagram already blew it up, so I won't spoil it because I don't want to be that person that amplifies or exaggerate one part and get people to read it, but it's only the second book of the like I don't want to do that. But I think Christian did a really good job. I like how they kind of balance each other out a little bit. The ending ended off on a cliffhanger, and this is where I wish this wasn't an interconnected series, because now first I was focused on Magnolia Parks when that book ended. Now after this, I'm worried about Daisy. I don't care about Magnolia, but now I have to go back to Magnolia. So that's just how it is though. But I think it was pretty good. And once again, old cover, over the shoe cover, all day, every day. One thing that I thought that was interesting too, is that the book has like footnotes whenever it's in Daisy's point of view. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but you guys can kind of see like some type of writing down here, I think. But yeah, so the footnotes, I actually don't mind that too much. I feel like it shows the different ways that Daisy and Magnolia like think and speak differently. I feel like with Magnolia, she has that very posh, I don't want to say condescending or know-it-all, but it's kind of like, I know a lot of people say Gossip Girl, I haven't watched that show, but I can imagine it being like, oh yeah, I went to this fancy store and you know the one that's on this certain street, make sure you get this dish. Like I feel like that's more Magnolia's vibe. She uses a lot of parentheses and a lot of like interrupted sentences for that, so I don't mind too much with that. Daisy, I feel like this gives more academic book vibes with her footnotes, and I kind of like that though, because I was able to read, and then after I see the little number, I can just go down to the bottom and then figure out what she meant by that certain page or a certain term or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I think that's it for Daisy Hates though. 4 out of 5 as well. Not too many complaints about this book either. Enough for me to keep going. The next book, this is probably one of the books I'm most excited to talk about. And this was also in June that I finished this book. It's none other than The Kiss Countdown by Etta Easton. We're gonna go with that. So The Kiss Countdown, first off, it's her debut book, which I'm absolutely amazed with. This one was my 5 out of 5. I don't care what anyone says about it. I don't care about the complaints. Maybe it's valid. To me, it's not. This is a 5 out of 5 star. Basically, we got fake dating trope, we got black love, and we also got like space themes and NASA in there. Like, so for me, this is an auto read. But basically, this girl, Anne-Marie, is about to get kicked out of her apartment. She's paying bills, especially for her parents and stuff like that. And she's getting stressed out, needs to find money. Oh, and she's also out of a job too. So it's just a triple whammy going on. And then she meets this guy, Vincent, at a coffee shop. Vincent is an astronaut. Coincidentally, when they first met, it wasn't really like a cute meet cute type of deal. But the second time they see each other, Anne-Marie's ex is coming to talk to her. So of course she did the classic, oh, meet my boyfriend, stranger that I never met before. So Vincent played the part really well. And then one thing led to another. Vincent and Emery make a deal where Emery will live with Vincent. They basically have to play the part of a happy couple to not only Emery's ex, but to Vincent's family. They're very nosy, but they want the best for him also. So that just requires a lot more time of them spending together. So they move in together. They also go to like a cute little cabin place. This is also set in Houston, Texas as well. So this is pretty cool to me. Vincent also has 3 months before he has to fly to the moon, essentially, or fly to the ISS. There's a countdown of 3 months before Vincent flies off, and Emery should have enough money to move out and finally make her own like business. Although it's pretty short, I think it's 316 pages. A lot of stuff happened between. I feel like there's a lot of imagery in here. I really like the personalities of Vincent and Emery. I feel like it's slightly opposite attracts, but not too much like Grumpy Sunshine. I really like how Vincent was portrayed too. He has this very nerdy, romantic, protective, it's like not cocky, but confident vibe, if that makes sense. I really like how he was portrayed here. I love when authors are now making sure the main characters are facing any potential issues that they have or any potential traumas they may have as well. Because I feel like a lot of that can be overlooked with just the romance and tied up with a pretty bow. But I feel like the extra pages dedicate to Emery finding out about herself and finding out why she reacts certain ways to stuff was very well done too. Yeah, again, I'm just surprised this was a debut novel. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil it, but overall, I feel like if you want to go to a little cabin area, hike, I feel like this might be the book for you. Kids Countdown. You gotta read it. Just love it. The next book that I read, it was on my Kindle. Shout out Kindle Unlimited because I'm glad I did not buy this one physically, is Binding 13. I believe I read that book in July. I think that was the first book I completed. So we're gonna go with, I think we're now in July. With Binding 13, I think it's 611 pages. And yeah, that's a thickum book. I didn't want to carry that around. I did like the new cover, or I'm kind of indifferent between both covers, honestly. The old one had like the faces, and I think they had like a field or something like that. I don't mind. It's kind of 2010s vibe. The new one is just like, it reminds me of like the little smoker thing that people use in photo shoots. So I'm here for it. It's a 2.5 for me. Yeah. 2.5, maybe a 3. The quickest way possible I can describe this book. Popular boy, Johnny, we're gonna go with Johnny. He's in rugby, and so he kicks a ball, and coincidentally this ball hits shy girl on her first day, Shannon, in the head. Just bam, just full on hit her. So Shannon has a very sad history of bullying, and so she just transferred to the school that Johnny's in for the first time. I think it's like a private school type of deal. So Johnny automatically becomes very attracted to Shannon, tries to apologize, but her mom is very protective over her. So it's like, stay away from my daughter type of vibes. And he's like, can't help it. So, I mean, that's always a good way to start off a book, I guess. With Shannon, as she's like learning through the school, there's a lot of drama dealing with Johnny, whether she likes her or not, and whether he likes her or not, if we're being quite honest. He's a popular guy, he's really good at rugby, and he's basically on the come up to be one of like the most professional players of rugby, if I remember correctly. This is also set in Ireland too. So I love that at the beginning of the book, we had like not a dictionary, but a glossary. We're gonna go glossary. A list of like the terms the Irish people use, because I was for sure confused with some of the stuff, but using context clues, it was kind of easy to determine if it was good or bad. But I really liked the little list there. It was dual point of views between Shannon and Johnny. What fell flat for me is that I get that this is high school. I really, really do. But there are some things that happens where I'm just like, this shouldn't continue. And I think if people read the book, they probably know what I'm talking about. There's a thing where someone casually mentions something, and I'm just like, we're not gonna skip that. Like, we should be having the police over. We should be closing down the school. Like, but I'm like, okay, whatever. This isn't what I'm reading the book for, apparently. It's a little bit vulgar. There was some like stuff that I just, flat didn't agree with or not here for. It's very repetitive as well. And not even repetitive in the sense of Shannon's so tiny and so frail, because they did say it at least 6 times in one chapter. And then we have the whole, for Johnny, like, oh, I just can't help it. And part of me's like, I think you can though. But yeah, anywho, we got that type of repetitiveness there. We also got the conversation repetitiveness. Oh my gosh. Okay. So imagine there's literally a chapter or 2 chapters where Shannon and Johnny are talking, right? Talk, great. Then after that, I think in the next scene or next chapters or whatever, depending on whose point of view it is, let's say it was Shannon's point of view chapter. So first, Shannon will talk about the conversation she had with Johnny with her friends, and they'll literally go through line by line what they said, and I'm just like, we don't need this. Now, we'll admit, Shannon's friends, I liked one of them. I think what the second book is going to be about. I forgot her name. I don't know. The second friend. Some of their feedback was like obviously needed for Shannon, and I get the point of it. But I feel like it could have been the same thing if they said, like, you know, take away those 3 to 6 lines and simply said, I reiterate our conversation to them. With Johnny and Gerald, like, they'll literally go line by line what they said. And Gerald's pretty out there. He's like a really wild friend. He's wild, but he's loyal. I did appreciate that about him. And so he will have some funny feedback with that. And so that did keep me vaguely entertained, but not enough to the point where every time I see Shannon and Johnny alone, I get fearful that they're going to have a conversation because I know they're going to repeat it 2 more times. So that was really irritating for me. That automatically brought it down to, I would say, a 2.5 at that point. Now, the ending, I love the ending. Definitely a cliffhanger. If I was more attached to the series, I definitely would have been flying over to the second book, but it's not enough for me to go over to the second book or even continue the series. I don't think it's worth 600 pages. Writing wise or concept wise, I don't think there was anything wrong with it. I like a nice popular boy, shy girl dynamic. It reminds me a lot of the anime Kimi no Todoke, season 3 coming out. Can't wait. But maybe I like watching it. Maybe I don't think I like reading it because I feel like some of the, I don't want to say mafia, but I'm going to say mafia. Some of the mafia dynamics starts trickling in. And I get it because Johnny's the captain, so he's technically number 1. But at the same time, I'm just like, you shouldn't have that much power with the school. Like, I get having a little bit of leeway or a little bit of leniency, but you have that much. Like, yeah, I would give it a 2.5. 3-star. That's all about Binding 13. That probably is one of my, I'm not going to say disappointing because I wasn't even expecting that much, but I think that was probably one of my tiring reads of 2024. Yeah, I'll definitely say that because I don't even remember how I got to 86% for the Kindle, but literally the last 15% of that book, I was struggling so hard. Moving with that, the first book I completed while I was there was Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So, fun fact, I've only read The Love Hypothesis. I have Love on the Brain and Love Theoretically. I just haven't touched those yet. This one, I kept hearing a lot of people say that it was good, it was spicy, yada, yada, yada. And I was intrigued though because she has a lot of STEMiness, which I love that word. But you know, women in STEM book and also romance. But I'm intrigued with the sudden genre change. So I just want to see what that was about, and also if there was a little bit of STEM and stuff in here. And surprisingly, there was. Our main character, Misery, which I really don't like that name, but I think that's kind of ironic, I guess, but still. So we have Misery. She's a vampire, and she's like an arranged marriage with like a werewolf. And it's supposed to bring peace between the vampires and the werewolves because there's humans, werewolves, vampires. They're not at war, but they have their own like territories, if that makes sense. And Misery, she's a vampire, but she was raised by humans because her dad like arranged it. It's kind of complicated. She got taken from the human side to the vampire side to marry a werewolf. So yeah, if you're with me, it's great. If you're not, that's fine. We're just gonna keep moving forward. So her werewolf husband is Lo, and he is their alpha. Sorry, I'm just. Okay. So their alpha Lo basically is her husband, and there's a lot of stuff happening with that territory that Misery kind of gets pulled into, whether she likes it or not. And then there was like an attraction between Lo and Misery. So it's a lot of, I don't even want to say will they, won't they, but it's definitely opposite attracts, marriage of convenience. And I don't want to say touch her and you die, but I'm going to say touch her and you die just because of the nature of Lo. So this one I gave, I think, 3 stars for. I see why people like this book. I do think there was a slow burn with Misery and Lo. Nothing wrong with that completely. I do think that it's more of her pacing with this book. I feel like the best way to describe the pacing is, for example, when I read books, I see it like a movie, right? So there was a really cute scene. This one I have no problem spoiling, by the way, so just a heads up. But there's a scene where Misery gets poisoned, right? And as she wakes up, she's trying to get some, I think, blood because she can't eat or drink, so it has to be blood. She goes outside of her room to get blood, and she trips over like a lump that she thought was like a lump of clothes. When she actually looked again, it was actually a big wolf. So she got scared, but the wolf was guiding her back to her room. And that's when she realized that was Lo. I thought that was really cute. And so that was a really good chapter for me. I saw it in my mind. I saw how it was going. Great pacing. And then that was it. And then it just like starts, the next chapter starts with something else. Now, I get it, but also I just feel like maybe it was a little bit abrupt for me. So it was giving me Percy Jackson on Disney Plus, where it was a great scene, then black. Great scene, black. Like that's what it was giving me. So I feel like this book was very easy for me to put down, but kind of hard for me to pick back up. Yeah, I don't know. Just I wasn't really a vibe with that. Oh yeah, cool thing about it. My name's in this book. That was pretty cool. Serena as a character was, yeah, I liked her. I think when it comes to the main character's second friend, or at least in this type of book, it'll be hard to make the character that they're searching for severely unlikable, because that's the whole point of Misery, or not the whole point, but part of the reason why she married Lo was to find her friend Serena. I will try my best not to spoil this part too, but once Serena is found and something is revealed, I feel like that was a little bit predictable. I'm not too mad at it because, you know, again, I thought Serena was a decent character, so I liked the idea of what was revealed for her. It's just, I'm curious of how Bride 2 is going to go. I don't even know if it's going to be called Bride 2, but maybe like beta or whatever. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. I loved how each chapter it opens up with Lo's thoughts about Misery. I thought that was really cute. I do wish that maybe the whole reveal of Misery being Lo's mate, I think that should have been revealed a lot earlier on. And I mean, it was revealed to the readers early, but I feel like Misery kind of should have picked up on that because she's a vampire. So I understand why she didn't pick up on it, but I think it should have been revealed a little bit earlier. Because then we had the whole turmoil of, well, is she or isn't she? And I don't need that. I personally don't need that. So it was good. I liked the Lo and Misery together at the end. I don't know. I think I want the pacing to be better. Yeah, I think I want the pacing to be better. The cover, because I'm trying to remember about the cover too. The cover's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's not like, you know, I'm not crazy about it, but at the same time, I'm not going to be embarrassed reading this book out in public either. Like, unless someone comes up to me and says, what's it about? But I definitely want to read Love Theoretically and Love on the Brain. I do feel like Love on the Brain is probably my least favorite cover, even though it has my favorite subject in there. So we'll have to see. But yeah, that's Bride. So I finished that book. After that, I actually got caught up in my reading journal and filled out everything I read up to that point. And then I decided to stay a little bit longer and finish this. I don't know if this is the book of the summer, but I know this was one of the hyped up book of the summer, just for the summer, by Abby Jimenez. I read this book and basically, I feel like I need to have like a loading screen up here. I think that'd be kind of funny for me. But so basically Emma and Justin have this interesting quirk about them that after they break up with the person that they're dating, their ex finds like their soulmate or the love of their lives, like right after them. And so what I love that Abby does is she opens it up with a Reddit post, which honestly, I feel like a lot of people don't like when authors put in a lot of pop reference and stuff like that. I actually don't mind that. I just feel like you have to do it right then and there, / you have to, I don't know, you have to set the tone and set the scene. So the Reddit post, that was genius. I was automatically hooked up with it. I always listen to those on Titktok anyway. So when he was like, am I the asshole? You know, posted by, yeah, perfect. We're already in. Basically, Justin posts that whole little Reddit thing of what's going on. His best friend basically left him and canceled their lease, or he broke out of his lease early or something like that. Justin couldn't pay for it, so he went to a studio. The studio is really small, and there's like a Toilet King billboard. And like, that's like, right, like that's all he sees, like with his window. So he gets an ugly dog and names it after the best friend. Cool. So obviously there's comments coming in, and Emma sees the comment, and I think she also DMs him. She DMs him saying, yeah, I had that same thing too happen to me. And that's when those two kind of build off on like a nice middle ground connection point. Like, hey, you have this weird curse too. Abby really throws us into it after the post was posted. Justin offers, hey, why don't we date and we can cancel out the curse, basically. What's funny to me was I was completely on board until my boyfriend pointed out, or it can double. So part of me's like, oh, maybe that's like a twist in the book or whatever. That's what happens. There's a lot of complications happening though, where Emma, she is a travel nurse, and currently, I don't know where she's at the beginning of the book, but she was gonna go to Hawaii. From the cover, honestly, I thought it was Hawaii too. I don't know why, but maybe just because I saw the green and stuff. She was gonna go to Hawaii. Justin is in Minnesota. And he basically convinced her, hey, you should come to Minnesota. We can spend time while you're stationed here. Or not stationed, but, you know, contracted here. She convinced her foster sister, Maddie, to join. They end up in Minnesota in the summer. They live like on an island. You know, great vibes. This book really wants me to go to like a lake somewhere and just, I don't know, either read on a boat or just, you know, dip my big toe into the water and just like read a page of it. Like, it was giving all of the summer vibes. There's a lot of complication on both Justin and Emma's sides, though, outside of them trying to break their curse. I won't spoil that because, quick fun fact, I did not know this was like her third book in the Part of Your World series. I don't know if the thing that was revealed in this book was already explained in the other two books. If so, then maybe I'll read them. That was a nice twist for me, or not even a twist, but that was a nice surprise for me. I was actually surprised for once in a book. I feel like there was a lot more stakes that happened. It became very low stake to now medium high stake at this point. Although this book is kind of lengthy, I think it's like 405 pages. I can't really find any fault in this book. And it doesn't make me mad or anything like that, but it's just really weird. I was very content and happy reading this entire book. So many cute scenes. Justin is such a hopeless romantic. Very thoughtful, very considerate. I loved how he planned the dates that they have. Yeah, even the like tagline for the back of the book says 4 dates, a kiss, and a breakup. Those were the conditions that Emma and Justin made up for them to actually have a real relationship. When they did those four dates, each one of them was very cute. Attraction was real between the both of them. And I don't know, it just gives me such warm vibes and just gives me summer love vibes. I don't want to spoil this book, so I'm going to try my best not to explain too much about it. Emma as a main character, I think she was a good main character for sure. I do think she's the too nice main character, if that makes sense. She always gives people chances. She always puts herself second. And although that's a little bit relatable on my end, there's only so much I can take. So I think she was understandably frustrating, like she's supposed to. And that's what I mean by having any faults. When reading this book, there were some frustrating points and I was getting frustrated. But in the back of my mind, I'm just like, well, yeah, what else is supposed to happen? Like, how else is this book going to progress if this frustrating point wasn't in here? It was needed. So yeah, Abby Jimenez, this is the first book I read from her. I heard that she does love books like no other. I think I want to read Part of Your World. I think that's the one where it's like country boy, city girl. Yours truly, I think that's the one I heard that was polarizing. I don't know if I'm going to read that one or not. I saw it at Walmart. I read the back of it. It sounds interesting. Honestly, if I didn't know any better, it low-key sounds like Divine Rivals, but without the magic. Just, I didn't want people to get too excited. I don't know, I just feel like there was a little bit some similarities there because of the letters and stuff. Part of me is like, I want more of this, and like, I want her next book now, but I understand that I have to take the time to read her other books and see how maybe the series is developing. Because who knows, there's probably some people here that I didn't even know was part of the second book or the first book. So, all the more reason why I should read it. Just for the summer, 5 stars, definitely summer vibes. And yeah, this is what I'm talking about with TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram hyping the book up. I feel like it should be for good reason. And don't get me wrong, I feel like people have the best intentions. There's so many books out there, and I'm so tired of picking a book out based off a recommendation because of a certain scene or a certain quote. So this book, I came in basically blind to it. I know the synopsis of it, but I don't know her writing style. I don't know if this is going to be a happily ever after type of deal. So yes, I highly recommend you guys should read this book, especially for the summer. Yeah, this was just giving beautiful late July, August vibes. So highly, highly recommend. Now we are up to date with all the books I'm reading. Oh wait, actually no, I did finish the next day after I read those 2 books. I finished another book on Kindle called Drunk on Love. Yeah, I think that's my first urban romance, and I gave that one 4 out of 5. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. But basically, it's rapper meets, she's not shy, but like, I guess mysterious girl. I think her name was Naeja. I'm gonna go with that because that's how I was saying in my head. And then the guy's name, I can't pronounce it for the life of me, but I'm gonna call him Kaz because I know that's part of his nickname. So Kaz and Naeja meet at a club, right? They get lit, they turn up, you know, they go home together. Bam. Wake up, Naeja has a big old ring on her finger. They're married. Cool. And so I'm like, oh, all right, like, we can vibe with this. Kaz has a very bad boy reputation in Hollywood. His label is starting to cut him off. They need an album from him, and they need him to clean up his act. So Kaz's publicist and I think his manager, I think they're both the same thing, but she tells him that they should stay married together. Of course, Naeja wasn't really about that, so she kind of ran away first. She kind of ran away first. I'm probably mixing it up a little bit. But then she comes back to him for a reason that I think you guys can already tell from this, and they end up staying married. And so there's a lot of drama with that, because again, popular boy, on the come up girl. And was the drama a little bit annoying and repetitive? Yes. Did I still enjoy myself because I feel like it helped the relationship flourish? Also yes. So it's really, I guess, how you feel about drama intake, I suppose, or how much drama there should be there. It is a spicy book as well. I feel like Kaz and Aisha has a really cute chemistry between each other. Kaz can be very cold and stoic if he really wants to be, but it's really just to protect himself and protect his family. I feel like Naeja, she also has that type of vibe as well, but she chooses not to. It was a pretty good book. For me, I feel like if there's not much I can talk about with the book, that just shows how like little problems I had with it. Of course, when it comes to Kaz being a player, I didn't really like that aspect too much. I feel like that's why I steer clear of some romances when they have like a player or a playboy type of deal. Because I feel like the playboy kind of gets away with being experienced and having like his own fun and stuff like that. And then of course it's like, oh, what makes this girl different is that she doesn't like take my BS or whatever. And I'm just like, that doesn't mean that she's not like other girls. I think Drunken Love was pretty good. I plan on reading Demon's Dream, which is another urban romance. It is like 700 pages, so that won't be till probably a lot later, maybe in the fall time. But I heard that was a really good book too. So who knows, maybe I'm getting more into urban romances. You know, it's Black author, Black love, and it was good in quality. So those are my three bare minimums basically when it comes to an auto read, or at least giving it a chance. After that, I started reading another summer book, same time next summer, by Annabelle Monaghan. Basically, I heard this one was similar to Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Never read Christina Lauren before. I never read Love in Other Words because, again, if you haven't seen my like get to know me video, I think you really should. I did talk about how friends to lovers trope is not my favorite one. I feel like there's some type of entitlement to it, or there's a lot of hyping up of the friend become lovers versus the other love interest, or if there is a love interest or something like that. I was very skeptical going into this. I think I'm exactly 50% done with the book. But basically, this is about this girl. Samantha basically lives in New York City, has her life basically in the way she wants to go. She has a fiance, she has a very big girl job, you know, she's doing her own thing. And she's 30, you know, so she's like, I should be doing this stuff anyway. Her mom and her dad invites her to go to their beach house, basically, and she has been there years. And there's a reason. Her first love and her had first love there. So the first love sparked, you know, it sizzled, and then it died out at that same beach area. So she'd never been there. I think since she was 16. It's been years since she's been there. She finally goes there, and she has her fiance with her, Jack. Which, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, as soon as I realized her fiance's name is Jack, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. So, but fine. Sam and Jack goes to the beach house area. She's with her family. The family's, you know, welcoming Jack in, blah, blah, blah. They're talking about wedding stuff. Great. I think the next day or 2 days later, she hears a guitar playing from their neighbor's side. And she already knows without even looking that that's her old love, Wyatt. Wyatt was her neighbor whenever she came as a kid to the summer area. And so it makes sense. Turns out Wyatt is their neighbor for like a month or so, or for the summer, because he decided to move back. There's a bit of back and forth. I like how they do the then and now section of this book, where you learn what happened in the past, what caused them to get together in the first place, what happened for them to break up. And now I'm in part 2 where it says now. So now, like from this point forward, I'm going to see what's about to happen between the two. And I really liked how she broke that up, because I feel like at a certain point in time, the past flashbacks can get a bit frustrating or can get a bit redundant. And I find myself wanting more of what's about to happen. So kudos on that, Annabelle. I think you did a good job with that. Imagery-wise, again, I want to go to the beach. I want to go to a lake. I want to go somewhere with water and just like dip my toes in there and read this book. I really feel like I can smell like the salt water, hear the oceans and stuff like that when reading this book. And I love that vibe. And I forgot how well summer reading or summer books do during this time of year, of course. Yeah, it's a vibe, really. It's a short book. I think it's, yeah, 285. I think I can finish this book by maybe the end of the week or so. This is gonna be a slight spoiler. I'm at the point where I understand what happened between Wyatt and Sam. And if you want to skip this part, go right ahead. Give me, let's say 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute. It was the cliche, oh, we're getting old, and oh, I noticed you in a different light type of deal. All right, cool. You know, why not, I guess. Then something happened. This is where I'm really not going to try to spoil it. Something happens that causes Wyatt to leave so suddenly, basically. And Wyatt harbors a lot of anger to why he had to leave early. And Sam was able to move on from it because she understands that it wasn't really her fault, but she also understands that he's in a lot of pain and anger because of it, because he was truly affected by it more than she was. And Wyatt did the cliche, oh, to protect you, I had to remove myself from the equation, even though we didn't talk about it. So that's kind of, I don't want to say an ick, but that was just kind of a for me. Then the second one, they go for like a year without talking. Sam was really down bad for Wyatt. Honestly, that was kind of concerning, but I'm glad she kind of got out of that. I don't think the resources she used, I don't think they were fully helpful for her. / they really dismissed how she felt in a way, and I feel like that kind of created to how she is now. Wyatt and her finally talked before they fully stopped talking. It didn't go over so well. I think Wyatt definitely skipped some steps with the whole him talking to her out of nowhere. And yeah, so that's where we are now. I think they were 16, 17, maybe 17, 17 at this point. And now the next time they see each other, they're 30, 31. One thing I can say, because I think we all know where this is going, I think this is where I don't like the friends to lover trope again. Because again, we talk about Jack from the beginning. Sam describes him as like a safe spot for her. Annabelle talks about how Sam and Jack, they spent like the afternoon reading by the beach or whatever. And I thought that, to me, that's cute. That's a good time for me. I think you can tell that Sam settled for Jack. And she even goes on to describe the way that she loves Jack and like the way their relationship is. Like, oh, this is a grown-up love. And like, it's a safe type of love. And yes, that's true, but there has to be some type of passion, some type of actual, you know, romance. And maybe I'm just not there yet in the now section. Maybe because we've been so focused on Wyatt and Sam with the then and now, that maybe in the now section, we're actually focusing on her and Jack. Because I'm not saying Jack is bad, but the only thing I can tell from him is that A, he comes from a really rich family. He loves playing tennis. And yeah, that's the thing that blew my mind. He chose the wedding venue. And like, he chose like the wedding stuff. And Sam's just kind of like, yeah, I guess that works. And I'm just like, are you okay? Like, I'm not saying, maybe some people are like that with wedding choices. To me, I feel like you would have been more excited about that, or at least be more, nah, I don't want to get married here. I would like to get married here. Like, yeah, I guess that's fine. Or as long as we get married, that's all that, you know, something like some type of excitement. And I'm not getting that from Sam. So that was a little bit frustrating, but I'm going to give the other 50% a chance. Because if I were to end it off right here, right now, I would say it's a 3. I'm going to say 3.25. I know that's very specific, but I truly can't decide between a 3 or a 3.5. So 3.25 is probably the perfect way to say it. Yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting about the book because I'm gonna just keep talking about that for another 10 minutes. We could talk about the cover instead. Basically with the cover, I love the yellow, I love the blue and the sand. Like you get, you know, it's giving beach. What I didn't notice, because I knew there was a treehouse here because they said that in the book, but I didn't know that it was Wyatt playing the guitar until I looked there. And honestly, well done to the illustrator for that. I feel like a lot of people are saying that they don't like cartoony books. I feel like cartoony or the cartoon character books, they're fine for a certain point. I feel like there's a difference between using it to cover up a smutty book to be discreet versus showing the actual vibe of a book. You don't get to see her face too much. You don't see the guy's face because he's too far away. You see mostly the beach. You see the color palette. It's aesthetically pleasing. I feel like this is how it's supposed to be done. Even the back. We got the prompt. We got a little cute little flag thingy here. I'm happy. And then lastly, the side. I don't know if some people are like spine fanatics, but like you got like a little seashell. And it all plays into the book. So those are all the books that I have read, am reading. I feel like this video has gone long enough. But I think I'm gonna do like a August TBR, maybe a fall TBR. I feel like this will be a really long one if I do like all the books I want to read before 2024 is over. But yeah, that's basically everything, you guys. So I hope you guys are having a great summer. Just comment down like how your summer's going or what you're doing for the summer, or if you're ready for fall because of how hot it is. Just let me know. Let's chat. But thank you guys for watching my video. I truly, truly appreciate it. You know, stay blessed, stay happy, and happy reading. Bye, guys.